Welcome back to the Hutt Hawks Cricket Podcast, the show where we unlock the secrets to elevating your cricket game on and off the field. I'm your host, and today we're diving into one of the most important aspects of high-performance cricket, mastering the mental battlefield. Whether you're a batter walking out in a pressure situation or a young player learning to manage your emotions, today's topic is crucial. I'm joined by a very insightful guest who's going to help us understand how we can take control of our mind chatter, manage our performance mindset, and get into what we often call the zone. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's such an important area that doesn't always get the attention it deserves. When we talk about mind chatter, that internal voice, we're referring to the stream of thoughts running through our heads during performance. In cricket, especially for batters, these thoughts can either be constructive or incredibly destructive. The good news is we have far more control over them than we often believe. Understanding how to redirect this internal narrative is a total game changer.
Absolutely. And many players don't realize that environment often shapes the direction of that chatter. For example, a batter coming in after a teammate is dismissed can immediately go into a defensive spiral, thinking we can't lose 2 wickets back to back. That thought isn't helpful. Instead of staying in an aggressive, zone-focused mindset, they fall into a fear-based approach. That reactive shift in mindset impacts shot selection, body language, and performance. How can young players fight this?
It starts with awareness. First, a player needs to listen to that internal dialogue and recognize when it's going off course. Then comes the practice of redirection, not letting the mind wander to fear-based thoughts, but guiding it back to intent-based action. One effective method is to create a simple mental cue, a short phrase like "play my game" or "see ball, hit ball." These can help bring the player back into the right frame of mind. When practiced consistently, it becomes a mental skill as valuable as any technical shot in the book.
That's a fascinating concept, treating mindset as a skill. And you mentioned the zone, that almost mythical space where everything feels automatic. Many players describe it, but few know how to actually get there. Can tapping into the unconscious mind really help players access their best performance without overthinking?
It absolutely can. Our unconscious mind stores the muscle memory, the habits built through training, and when we're in flow or the zone, we get out of our own way and let that system take over. The conscious mind, full of doubts or thoughts like "don't get out," can block that natural rhythm. But with training, players can learn to set the right mental environment that invites the unconscious mind to take the lead. Positive inner dialogue, clear intent, and breathing techniques are just some of the tools that redirect conscious thought and unlock unconscious performance.
And it all ties back to being intentional with our thoughts, doesn't it? Not just defaulting to a cautious mindset after a wicket or a few dot balls. We've all seen players retreat into a shell, waiting to rebuild, thinking they have to play out a few overs, when in reality what the situation calls for is assertiveness and playing to their strengths. So how can players train this day in and day out?
Think of every net session as a mental training ground. Don't just hit balls, train scenarios. Practice walking in after a fall of wicket. Set the mental goal. I'm still playing my game, attacking anything in my zone. Every single ball needs to be met with deliberate intent. Also, journal afterwards. What were you thinking before the ball? Was it helpful, or did it take you out of your zone? Over time, this leads to greater understanding and regulation of that inner birdie, as some like to call it, the internal voice that can either build you up or tear you down.
That's such a valuable tactic, integrating mental rehearsal into physical sessions. Before we wrap up, for coaches and even parents listening, how can they support young athletes in managing their mindset better, especially after a poor performance or a pressure failure in a match?
The key is to shift the conversation from outcomes to processes. Celebrate moments of positive intent, good mindset, smart decision-making, not just how many runs a player got. When a young player is encouraged to reflect on their focus, body language, and inner voice rather than statistics alone, they learn that performance is about process. That helps reduce fear of failure and builds resilience. It creates an environment where mastery of mind becomes just as valued as runs on the board.
Beautifully put. That philosophy will help so many young players become consistent under pressure. And remember, it's not about avoiding failure altogether. It's about how we respond in the moments after. That's where growth really happens. Thanks again for sharing your insights today. It's been both inspirational and immediately applicable. For our listeners, stay present, play with purpose, and we'll catch you next time on the Hutt Hawks Cricket Podcast.